Bipartisanship works best after elections. Joining me now, the Daily Beast's Colarusso and Politico senior reporter Lois Romano. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Lois, let me start off with you. You heard the comment there that bipartisanship works best after elections. I don't know if that's foolproof because you've got, for example, Paul Ryan saying that the American people voted for a divided government, seeing still power in the House and a Democrat, of course, in the White House.
Well, he also said we have to make this work now, and I think a few years ago you would have heard them all saying, no, we can't compromise, we're going to have to stick to our guns. You know, I think this was a real shellacking for the Republicans, and now you're hearing all the 2016 people walking it back. You know, all the Tea Party types saying, well, you know, not all of them, but at least some of them who want to run for president, saying, you know, I think we need to scale this back. We can't dumb it down. We can't be acerbic with the American public. They don't want to hear all this. So it's not just after elections. It's after elections that you have lost big time.
Yeah, you know, to your point, Tea Party favorite Senator Rand Paul making some concessions, or at least saying he's willing to on immigration, even reaching out to minorities to come into the fold of the party. Let me play what he had to say. Oh, actually, let me read what he had to say. I want to show what conservatives would or can accept if we assimilate those who are here. However, they got here. Don't make it an easy path for citizenship, but if they're willing to work, willing to pay taxes, I think we need to normalize those who are here. That's part of a quote from the article in Politico, obviously your web paper. But what do we make of, for example, Senator Rand Paul? Does he have enough influence when you counter, for example, Mitch McConnell and others? Does he have enough influence to bring in others in the party who agree?
Yes, I definitely think he does. I think he's considered a player. He has, you know, he brings to the table a very, very big demographic, which is his father's list. And that's a pretty powerful thing. And what you're going to have to watch for here is, you know, the Mitch McConnells of the world. You know, McConnell actually is somebody who's going to want to play a little bit on immigration, but he faces a challenge, you know, a primary challenge maybe. So what you're going to see is some of these guys who maybe want to soften on immigration, getting some cover from some of the other guys, you know, who will get out there in front to try to protect them so they can win their next elections, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Laura, you wrote about rank-and-file immigration reform in the Daily Beast yesterday. It caught my eye, and it is interesting. I mean, from, if you will, the leaders of the party who are on the radio and on television, meaning like a Sean Hannity, to actual elected officials within the GOP who really seem like they want to speed up the process in hopes maybe of 2 years from now having Latino voters come to their side if immigration is what's holding some of those voting blocs back.
Right, and I think what you really have to look at is all the people that have come forward in the last week or so have been people like Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Rand Paul now, and we really haven't heard much from the rank and file in the House. And when you have a group of people that are safely ensconced in gerrymandered districts, there's not much motivation for them at this point to really come out very much in favor of something like immigration reform. So the Senate might be talking about it. You might have people like Sean Hannity talking about it, but people that matter, like Lamar Smith, who was the chair of the Judiciary Committee, hasn't really made a statement. And then you also have people like Steve King saying that it's just another. He's bringing back the word amnesty real quick. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned words and words that matter, Laura. You've got Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana, in Politico as well. Lois, I feel like we should get a plug every time we say Politico, but nevertheless, you say we cannot. He says absolutely. Governor Jindal says we must not be the party that simply protects the rich so that they get to keep their toys. We also had enough of this dumbed-down conservatism. We need to stop being simplistic. We need to thrust the intelligence of the American people, and we need to stop insulting the intelligence of voters. So, I mean, he didn't say amnesty, for example, but we saw some of the heated rhetoric Lois and Laura used regarding immigration to incite fear, and as a result get people fired up and ready to be against any kind of program for the 12 to 14 million people in this country right now who obviously will not all be sent back to their home countries.
I think that's right. And they've kind of painted themselves into a corner in this respect. I mean, they have the base the Republican base still is not very much in favor of a pathway to citizenship. And when people talk about comprehensive immigration reform, that's what they're talking about. So now it's up to Republicans across the country, really, to start changing their tune. And the question is, how fast can they do that? Will it be in time to really make a difference for the next election?
And will they try to usurp the president? And he's already made a pledge that it's high on his agenda as well. Will they try to work with the president or try to upstage him? But Lois, before I let you go, I want to play another clip from Congressman Paul Ryan, his first reaction, public reaction anyway, on camera to the big loss for he and Governor Romney. Let me play it.
Mitt didn't pick me for Wisconsin for a certain state. He picked me for issues, for governing, for taking on the debt crisis. We had hoped to win Wisconsin. We fought very hard here for Wisconsin. We cut President Obama's lead in half, but nevertheless it wasn't enough. And what it became clear to us as things went on, when Virginia and Ohio weren't really coming together, that it looked to me sometime early in the evening that it just wasn't going to happen.
So that's his reflection, but moving ahead, Lois, Speaker Boehner was asked whether or not Paul Ryan would be the leader of the party, and he referred to him as the wonky guy in that latest interview that he conducted. What are we to make of Paul Ryan's his influence, especially in fiscal debates moving on, and entitlement reform?
You know, he is the wonky guy. I do think that was sort of a dismissive comment that the Speaker made. I think what the Speaker was trying to say is that he's coming back here the same guy as when he left. I mean, he's going to be a voice on certain issues, but he's not going to be a leader in the party.
All right, Lois and Laura, thank you very much. Great pleasure having both of you on with me today. See you soon.
Thank you.